All right, first graders, we are working on our winter bird paintings. And last time we saw each other, we were talking about our trees. And we learned two directions. Our tree trunks went up and down, and we learned that that word was vertical. Vertical. We also learned that when we made our branches and they went side to side, that was called horizontal. So our tree trunks were vertical and our branches were horizontal. We also did this great bark texture by mixing a little bit of black in with our brown. And remember, we were painting in the direction that our branches or our trunk was going. So for our trunk, we had to paint vertically. And for our branches, we had to paint horizontally. Now it's time to have a little fun. We need to make that winter scene. So we're going to be taking our brush and this jar of sort of runny, watery white paint, and we're going to cause a little snow action. So the responsible way to do this is I'm going to put the white paint on my brush and I'm going to gently tap. I don't want to take my brush and start whipping it everywhere because then I'm going to get paint all over the place. My table, my partner's painting probably, my clothes, and plus it's not going to look like snow. So the easiest way to do this, and the best way, is to just tap it with your finger. Now you can have as much snow action as you'd like. I'll leave that up to you. I just want to make sure that when I do my snow, I see snow everywhere, so it's not just snow in one spot, because that would be weird. That looks really snowy. I'm happy with this. The next thing I'm going to do is start to think about my birds. Now we were talking about how birds go south for the winter where it's warm. So we learned two color groups. We learned the warm color group, which is made out of the reds, oranges, and yellows. And then we talked about the cool color group, and that's what we chose for our background paper. So that was our greens, blues, and purples. So for your birds, you get to pick between the warm colors, and I have for you today red, orange, yellow, and magenta, which is the pink. That's a magenta. You can also choose to have up to 6 birds. You could have 1 bird, 2, 3 birds, 4 birds, 5 birds, or if you wanted, 6. But I'm going to limit your color to 2 colors. So we have 2 colors and up to 6 birds if you like. So how do we make these birds? Well, it's not that hard really. Once you have asked for your 2 colors, your 2 warm colors, you're going to get 2 brushes. And we just have our regular medium brushes we use all the time. 1 brush for each color. I'm going to put my first color on my brush, and here's how I make my first bird. Now the birds are going to be on the branches, so brush down, turn my brush, and brush up. That is 1 bird body. Now I have this great big branch and I can have up to 6 birds, so I might as well do another yellow. Brush down, turn, and lift. Maybe 1 more yellow one. Let's put 1 down here on this branch. Brush down, turn, and lift. Okay? Now I have to get my other color. So I'm going to get my other color and I need my other brush. So here's red. Brush down, turn, and lift. Brush down, turn, and lift. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can have one more bird. So let's go for it. Turn and lift. Now these birds aren't quite done, but their bodies are done. The last step is to add their little claws holding onto the branch so they don't fall down, their eyes, and their beaks. And for that, we're going to be sharing black paint and our tiny brushes. Here's how we finish these birds off. Now when a bird sits on a branch, it uses its claws to hold on to that branch. So we're just going to draw the little claws, 3 for each foot, 2 feet per bird. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm just making tiny little dots on those birds' feet. So let me get closer so you can see that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And my last 2 birds down here. Oops, I forgot one of those feet. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now their eyes. Boop, boop. Now our birds are starting to see some things. Oh, he's got a really crazy big eye. And the last part is the beaks. Now the beaks really just look like a V. Now they look happy. Okay, our birds are done being painted. The very last step for your project is the most colorful. You get to pick 1 feather per bird. So how many birds do I have? 6. So I get to pick 6 feathers. So I'm going to take my glue, make a tiny glue dot at the top of each bird, and that's going to hold my feather on. Okay? The feathers that I picked are short feathers, so they'll be just the right size for our birds. Now the feathers could be warm or cool colors. What's a bird without a feather? There we go. Now each bird has its feather. It's going to take a little bit for this glue to dry. So when I walk with my painting, I need to be careful that I walk slowly so that my feathers don't fly up and mess up my wet paint. I'm just going to lay this on the wooden dry rack so it can dry. And that's my winter birds.